Welcome to Speak English Podcast with your host, Georgiana, the podcast that will help you to speak English fluently with no grammar and no textbooks.
Hi, everybody. I am Georgiana, your English teacher and founder of SpeakEnglishPodcast.com. My mission is to help you to speak English fluently. Today, I'm going to talk about managing your English learning time. Next, you will practice your speaking with a mini story. But before we start, please visit my website, speakenglishpodcast.com/podcast to get the transcript of this episode. It's completely free. Very good. Have you ever wondered how to find more time to do something? I ask myself that all the time. In fact, I think time runs away from me. And I don't have time to chase it. The truth is, time flies. And it flies for everyone. We always have something to do in today's society. And there is never time for anything. But don't despair. Even in these circumstances, you can find a good strategy to learn English. As you know, my system is based on listening. Therefore, it's a significant advantage since you can take the lessons wherever you want, on your mobile, tablet, or laptop. There's no need to sit in front of the computer and start studying. In fact, I think very few people can do that consistently. So today, I'm going to give you some ideas about managing your English learning time. Number 1. Free time during the day. We waste many minutes that we could be putting to good use throughout the day. The list is endless. Driving the car, waiting in line at the bank, cleaning the house, walking the dog, ironing, etc. If you add up all those minutes, you might be surprised how much time is wasted. So, it's a good idea to try to make the most of all this free time. One objection I sometimes get is the following. You can't be focused 100% if you're doing something else, like driving a car. Yes, it's true that you may not be fully focused. But let me tell you a secret. Your brain is always learning, even if you don't always pay close attention. For example, if you listen to a song without paying attention, you may later hum the melody without realizing it. Let's say you listen for 1,000 hours during a year, 200 hours at full concentration, 500 hours at medium concentration, and another 300 hours at low concentration. You will have listened for 700 hours at high or medium concentration, which is not bad at all. And even if you're not paying much attention during those 300 hours, they're still useful. Think of it this way. when you learned your native language, you weren't 100% focused every time you heard something. Many times, you weren't paying attention. When I learned Spanish, I've spent a lot of time listening, and I wasn't always focused, but I accumulated hours and hours of listening, and I got much better over time. Number 2. Small daily actions have a massive impact over time. One day, I heard this idea. A person was complaining that he didn't have time to read. He hadn't opened a book in years. So, someone made this reasoning to him. Let's say you only spend 10 minutes a day reading, maybe 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes in the evening. I think that's a very modest goal. Let's do the math. If you take 1 minute to read 1 page, that's 10 pages a day. A month has 30 days, so you would read 300 pages. This is roughly equivalent to an average-sized book. Reading 1 book per month equals 12 books per year. Over 5 years, that would be 60 books. So imagine now that you go to a library and pick out 60 books. This would be what you have learned just by reading 10 minutes a day in 5 years. I find the idea fascinating, as it shows in a very simple way how much time you can accumulate by devoting it to one thing consistently. I usually recommend at least an hour a day of listening. But if you can't, you can listen less. Over time, you will realize how much you are learning. Number 3. It's a matter of priority. A friend of mine once told me, "You always find time for things that are a priority for you, and you never find time for things that are not." Interesting reflection. If it's a priority, you will always find the time. Saying that we don't have time is something very recurrent. And it makes us feel better when we're not doing something we are supposed to be doing. So, one way to find the time is to reevaluate your priorities. Okay, now it's time for you to practice your speech with a mini story. By the way, if you want to know how to speak English using the right techniques, visit my website, speakenglishpodcast.com, and subscribe to my mailing list. I will send you my 5-day video course so you can learn how to speak English fluently. And it's completely free. Okay, now it's time for you to practice your speech with a mini story. What's a mini story? A mini story is very simple. I give you information using phrases, and then I ask you questions. After each question, there will be some seconds of silence. It's your turn to answer the question. Just try to give an easy and a short answer, not a complex one. After your answer, I'll give you the correct answer. And just like that, I'll tell you a story with questions and answers. Are you ready? Tom complained for years that he never had time to learn English. Did Tom complain for years or seconds? For years. He complained for years, not just seconds. A long time. Did Tom complain that he didn't have time? Yes, he complained about that. He complained that he didn't have time to learn English. What didn't Tom have time for? To learn English. He complained for years about that. One day, Tom, out of curiosity, calculated the time he spent complaining. Did Tom calculate the time he spent learning English? No, he didn't calculate that. He calculated the time he spent complaining. Why did Tom calculate that? Because he was curious. He calculated it out of curiosity. Who calculated something out of curiosity? Tom. Tom calculated it. It turned out that Tom complained about 37 hours and 14 minutes a week. Did it turn out that Tom complained very little? No, it turned out that Tom complained about an average of 37 hours and 14 minutes a week. How many hours? "37. 37 hours. And minutes? "14. 14 minutes. A total of 37 hours and 14 minutes. Not bad. Tom decided to spend all the time he was complaining listening to English lessons. Did Tom spend time thinking about how to complain even more? No. He didn't spend the time doing that. He spent it listening to English lessons. Did Tom learn English by complaining? No. He learned English by listening to English lessons. Eventually, Tom became fluent in English, but he started complaining in English about the time he wasted complaining. What did Tom become? fluent in English. Eventually, he got fluent in English. Did he start complaining about something? Yes. He started complaining about something. He started complaining about the time he wasted complaining. In what language was he complaining? In English. Tom was complaining in English about the time he had previously wasted complaining. Perfect! It's the end of this mini story. As you can see, through questions and answers, you can practice and improve your speech just like in a real conversation. It is one of the techniques that I use in my premium courses. I recommend you to take a look at speakenglishpodcast.com/courses. Okay, we have reached the end of this episode. Remember to listen to it several times. It will help you with your English. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Did you enjoy today's episode? Get the transcript now at speakenglishpodcast.com.